I am beautiful inside and out, delivered to me by Grow Coffee. Right then, tell me how you do it. That's what I had last week. Aye. Mine just I spittled and Alex Kate. Right, get you back. I was actually thinking that in the mind.
An Empire biscuit, sorry it's not.
So before we go into anything else, right, so it'll probably all 40 bits, man, but it doesn't matter, it's still worth a go.
Yeah. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
When's the last time I ran down a hill?
That's it.
Hello LinkedIn, me again. So thank you very much to everybody who's going to be watching today's show. Or if you're watching it back, because obviously they're pre-recorded, so we still have people that watch it on a Friday because they're supposed to be working and they don't work and they're at it. But then you've obviously got our weekenders and stuff that watch it as well, so it's all good. So yes, thank you for joining us today. We have got Joe Wedegren, right? So we were actually sitting here discussing, because I get into trouble for saying his name wrong all the time, so yeah, he taught me how to say it properly, and it's, what, say it again?
Wedegren.
So Joel Wedegren, so Joel is from Sweden. So Joel is actually over here for a little holiday, and we're going to play a game of golf, and I says, well, let's go and get you on the show. So Joel is going to talk to us about all things kind of personal protection, because it's something that a lot of, and it's not that personal protection, just in case you're thinking about it right. Something wrong with me. Something wrong with me. But no, looking at obviously how you can obviously protect yourself with income protection and all this kind of stuff. Joel talk about it. He knows about it. But things that you don't really think about because you just got on with your job and you got on with your day life and you do that kind of stuff. So Joel's going to give us the ins and outs of it and go through it all and hopefully get a lot of value. As I say, Joel and I speak quite a lot, but I didn't really know a lot of it as well. So again, the purpose of bringing people on this show is somebody will speak to me, tell me something like that. What the hell, I didn't know that. So let's go and tell everybody else about it. So you'll get a chance to tell the world in a second. So we've got a few things we need to do first. So first thing first, Bow Mango Media. Right, Andrew, give yourself a pat on the back. Thank you very much. Amelia's through next door. She's, for anybody that doesn't know, what's it called, Andrew? Granite Harbour. So Amelia is a star in Granite Harbour. Just come on BBC iPlayer yesterday, so this was the week before, so last week. So get watching it. You'll see Amelia on it. I think her scenes start about 20 minutes into the first episode, Andrew.
Yeah, she's the main character.
She's main character. 20 minutes into the first episode, she'll come in. I've not seen it yet, but she'll be awesome because she is awesome. So yeah, watch that. And a big shout out to Grow. So Joel and I went to Grow, right? And this is what you actually get to see how greedy this man is. So in there, and I think we've picked the 4 biggest cakes we could find. So I'm back on my matcha latte. And then I'll show you 2 cakes and Joel can show you 2 cakes. So look at the size of those bad boys, right? That one's a Nutella thing, isn't it? And then a cinnamon bun. And then, can you hold them up to the camera there? Can you see them, Andrew?
Yeah.
Right? And then that's what did you say that was?
I think
a
it's
caramel.
sort of one had caramel and one had Nutella.
So that one's got Nutella, so that one's got caramel, and that's just some big caramel sponge slab thing. So anyway,
I can't wait to get dug into them.
Look at the size of them, right? And anybody that watched the show that's not been to Grow, you have to go, right? I mean, these guys, they feed us with these every week. Obviously, that's why I'm getting so fat, right? But it's worth it. Right, anyway, that's the nicety bits done. So, Joe, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, what you've done, and then how you ended up falling into the line of actually promoting protection.
Well, I started off, I came back here in 2003 as an airline pilot. So that's my first life. And I thought it was going to be my only life. Did 20 years in the airlines, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, basically my aviation doctor says, you're done. So that was a bit of an eye-opener. Never thought I'd have to look for another job.
and the thing was, though, but you were young at the time. It's not as if you were... A lot of people get these kind of bits of bad news when they're older.
Yeah, I was only 40
Yeah.
So
So like
I don't know who's watching, but some
20
people
years
think
ago.
that's
20
some people
years
think that's young. Some people think that's an old fart. But yeah, it was
it's definitely no old to be getting told that your career's ended because of an injury or a illness or whatever somebody gets told.
Yeah, exactly, and it was quite a minor thing. So yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system. But you know, you pick yourself up and think about what you're gonna do. So that's why at that point, you know, you start kind of thinking about, okay, well, what's my backup here? Thankfully, I had some personal protection in place. So that was good, but unfortunately, I had DIY'd my protection, and I never thought I needed advice. Excuse me. So I just went and got something. I didn't have a plan why I had it or whatever, but I just kind of thought, yeah, well, that's fine. I'll get that.
Actually, you just got it back at that point in time because it was an insurance policy and people did that.
Yeah.
Rather than really knowing too much about it.
So it gave me some time to retrain or whatever. So I'm glad I had something, but I really wish I had something better. And that's kind of at the heart of what I do now, is just making sure that my clients that I speak to understand what they need and why they need it. And it's just that peace of mind, you know. People come to me and I said, so what happens if you can't work tomorrow? And they go, I don't know. How long can you survive financially?
Yep.
Maybe a month, maybe 2.
Maybe a bit.
And then what if you don't come home tomorrow? How's your family gonna survive and all that? So a lot of people, there's quite an uncomfortable conversation to have, but it's one that needs to be had.
Yeah, and I think one of the things is that people think about these things, but they probably don't think about them as being as important as it is right now. And that's why I said about the age you were at. People start to think about these things when they get older. Yeah. Right? But something could happen no matter what age you are. And if it then leaves you with some sort of inability to work and earn money, there's not many people out there that have got lots of money sitting there that they can survive for even 6 months, right? I mean, very, very few. If you look at your average Joe, most people live month to month, right? And yes, some people might have a wee bit of savings and stuff like that, but when you look at the cost of mortgages, the cost of living, the cost of everything at the moment, it's very, very quickly dwindles down.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, obviously, I help a lot of clients with their mortgage first, and then we talk about protection as well. And when you're buying a house, most people put all their money into the house. Yeah. So then you got nothing. You basically wipe your savings out to buy the house. So you'll know how expensive that can be. So then if something happens, you're pretty quick. You start running into arrears, and you risk losing your home and everything really.
Right. And the like, so as I say, you had protection at the time, so obviously if you can imagine what would have happened or how different your life would have looked if you didn't have that at that point in time.
We'd be in trouble pretty quickly, I think. As the main earner in the home, we could have maybe made some adjustments and whatnot, but it really had to be quite drastic, and it'd be a big change in our life, and we'd be in trouble pretty quickly. So,
and obviously at that point in time, you had something which obviously helped you go, but that when you then started looking at it from a profession, you've realised that you could have had a lot more protection and a better cover and better options, should we say? So what would you have said was the cover that you did have compared to what you would have advised yourself now?
Absolutely. And I always say that taking out the cover that I had was the best thing and the worst thing I've done in my life. The best thing was that I had some cover. Yeah. The worst thing was that I didn't have the right cover. Right. So the income protection that I had was basically, if I couldn't fly, I was obviously a pilot before, and if I lost my medical, I would basically receive a monthly income for a set period of time. Yeah. So all that did was basically give me a few years to start something else. And I'm lucky in that I can still work.
Yeah.
So if I couldn't work, then it would basically just be kicking the can down the road.
Yeah.
So that was good. But the worst thing was that it did stop. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But
Yeah.
so what I really wish I'd done was take a full-term policy out. And it's not really that much more expensive for what you get. So
Right.
rather than, getting a few years worth of monthly payments, it would basically pay me to retirement.
Yeah.
So that's what I always say to people: just get a full-term payout. If you have something that happens to you and you can't work again, you don't need to worry about anything other than trying to get better. You just that peace of mind. Your bills are going to be paid. Your house is safe. Your family is safe. You just get on with trying to get better.
And see these policies. So how does it work? So I'll give a couple of scenarios. You can tell me whether they'll be covered, right? So say tomorrow I went out and had a stroke.
Yeah.
Right. Had a stroke, and that stroke meant that realistically, so obviously I'm a business owner, so I probably could still operate. But let's say I was an ops director for a company, right? And my role meant that I had to go and travel to sites and I had to do this and I had to do that. So that me having that stroke then meant that I could not physically do the role that I had.
Yeah.
Let's just say, for saying sake, I get paid 50 grand, right? So I get paid 50 grand a year for doing this role. And so I can't do it any longer. So does that mean that they would pay me the equivalent of my 50 grand or whatever for the rest of my thing if it's a full term policy?
Yeah, well, basically when you set it up, you choose the level of cover that you want, but it's always a max, so you can't be better off on during a claim than when you're working. So you might set it up as say $3,000 a month, maybe.
Yep.
So maybe a little bit less than what you're earning.
Yep.
When when the tax man has had this cut and everything, you get maybe a little bit less usually. And as long as you can work, doing your specific job, then you get your monthly payment.
Yeah.
If you then go back to work, then obviously it stops because you're earning again. But if you have a stroke, you're probably never going back to that kind of work. So you just...
Aye. And then, like, say another... Because does it protect you for like things like redundancy and all that kind of stuff, or is it just if you have an illness?
There's two different types of cover. There are a couple of insurers that do redundancy as well, but that tends to be like a 1 year or 2 year payout. The main one that I always recommend people having is more for your health. So if you have an accident or an illness, so if you had a stroke, for example, it's just going to keep paying you until you're to the end of term.
What here's I'm going to, and this is the types of things that I think other people would ask if they were you were trying to advise them on these things. So say for example your job meant that you worked in a computer, right, and something happened to your hand, right, so you can no longer do the job that you're doing, right, but you could still work doing something else, but you're maybe going to have to retrain, or you're maybe going to have to do something. So would that cover you for a period of time until you actually manage to retrain or repurpose yourself into a different type of role where you've had to leave your existing job because of something that's happened to you? Yeah,
absolutely. So basically the baseline is that you don't have to go back to work if you can't do your job. If you do want to work, and you might want to, like for me, when I stopped flying, I was never going to just sit on my backside. So even if my payout was full term, I'd still probably want to do something. But as you're starting to replace your lost earnings, your income protection will carry on, but it's going to reduce the payout so that you're not better off. That's the whole kind of thing. So you'll get paid, because most likely you're going to go into a lower paid position initially anyways. So they'll just kind of reduce the payout.
Right. So say let's just say, first to make the numbers easy, somebody was a job that was 50 grand, right? And they now cannot do that job any longer, but you could then you want to be a lollipop person, right? Yeah. Because you still want to work, you want to get out the house, you don't want to be turning into somebody that's just sitting in a couch potato, and that is 25 grand, right? So that would then so you would be on your say it's for £3,000, right? Just to make the numbers easy. So you've got protection for £3,000. So for 12 months you get your £3,000, right? And then you get a job as a lollipop person once you're out of hospital and all the rest of it, and that brings you in £2,000, just to make it easy.
As a well-paid lollipop person.
Listen, the way that the world was going at the moment, probably do get about that. National living wage and all that jazz. But anyway, so you're getting so that other £1,000, would that still be potentially paid as part of that package?
Yeah, so there's a formula where basically if you're getting £2,000 from your new job, they will prorata the payout. So it might not be the full grand, but you might get something.
So you might get 500 quid.
Yeah, something like that. So,
but it's not that when you get the job that
it's not going to go away unless you get a better paid job, which is unlikely.
And how does it work with? I don't know. Let's just make numbers easy. So let's say that your policy costs 200 quid a month, right? Just to make the numbers easy. So you've then went. So your 200 quid a month. This has now happened. Your policy's kicked in. Do you still have to pay that 200 quid a month?
No. That's basically the waiver premium, they call it. So usually after a certain waiting period, it might be 3 months or 6 months, while you're in a claim, basically the policy doesn't need to get paid. So because otherwise you'd need to increase your cover to cover the cost. So when you're in a claim, you don't basically pay.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then, but see, then you go back to work, you're now getting £2,000. Obviously, do you then have to start paying it again? In that scenario,
if you go and do another job,
so you're operations director. You're now a lollipop person.
You're still in a claim, so you're not paying the premium while you're in the claim.
Right. Okay. So the only time that you come out of that claim is if you go and get a better job that you get more money.
Yeah, because then your claim effectively stops.
Your claim stops, and then you would start paying it again.
Yeah.
You start paying your premium again, because obviously that claims just help you keep your family, your roof over your head, your family with food on the table.
It's done its job.
You've now got a better. You've got yourself into as good, or if not better, position. You're like that. Do you know what? The first thing I'm going to make sure I budget in is paying that premium again.
Yeah, it's quite unusual that you're paying that high. Like airline pilots, I deal with a lot of airline pilots, and maybe business owners that are doing quite well. They might be paying that kind of money. For average Joe, your premium is going to be much lower than that. You're maybe average of 50 quid or something like that. But if you're the higher the cover you need, and the bigger the mortgage you want to cover and all that kind of stuff, obviously that affects the premium. But it just
does it affect your premium when they realise you've got 5 dogs and it's a lot of dog food and a lot of poo bags you need to buy?
I don't know. They might need a mental health screening on you, but the premium should be the same.
Well, if they put the mental health screening in, then I've got no chance. And again, this is the thing for me that it's. I mean, I had it years ago, and then I've obviously let it lapse and blah blah blah. So when we're on the golf course, we'll talk about you getting me signed back up. But you don't think about it. These are the types of things that, see, when money becomes tight for people, these are the things that they definitely are not thinking about.
Yeah.
But obviously, these are things that you should still be thinking about, because it was a lifesaver for you, and it's a lifesaver for a lot of people.
Budget is always obviously a concern for everyone. The question I usually ask is, can you afford to have it and not need it? Mm-hmm. Can you afford to need it and not have it?
Yeah.
That's an even worse scenario, right? So it's much better to maybe downgrade your Sky package than to go without protecting yourself.
It's a good way of looking at it.
Yeah.
Good way of looking at it. Just sit and watch Nickelodeon, never mind your movies. No, good. And do you obviously? So that's if something really happens to you. So what's that called?
So that's your income protection.
Income protection.
That's kind of what we've been covering. There's different types of scenarios, different types of cover. Most people know about life insurance. Probably the one that's most commonly used as well.
Yeah.
So obviously that's what it says on the box. If you die, it's going to pay off. Usually you didn't cover the mortgage with that. Your income protection is to cover you if you can't work.
Yep.
There's other considerations as well, and that's why it's so important to take proper advice and not just try to DIY yourself a policy. If you have kids, you might need to consider what happens if you died. How are they going to fare after you're gone? If you're, you leave your partner behind as a single parent, maybe can't work as much as they used to, or maybe it didn't work. Maybe they were home already, looking after the kids. How are they going to put food on the table and keep the lights on? So all sorts of different types of solutions, really. But
and I think because it used to be, so obviously I think what mine was is critical illness cover.
Yeah, and that's the other thing when, like you mentioned your stroke. So critical illness is a little bit like your life insurance, but if it's something that doesn't quite kill you, but it's still going to stop you in your tracks. So if you have your stroke, you might want the lump sum to take some money off your mortgage or clear the mortgage, because even if you have income protection, it's usually less, or it's always less to actually than what you're taking home at the moment.
Yeah.
So if you need to lower your outgoings, but basically if you need to reduce your mortgage or pay it off, you can do that with a critical illness plan. So you get a lump sum, take care of your debt, and then your income protection is just to cover your ongoing expenses.
Because I think that's why it was interesting when we started speaking about income protection, because obviously, well, when you're director of the business, you're not really paying yourself a lot, so income protection wasn't really much an option for us.
Different considerations when you run your own business and how you draw your money and the tax complications and all that.
And I think that's some of the interesting things, is looking at the different things that are suitable for different people, because again, likes of the income protection, I think, is a really, really good one, because you've got a steady income for well, now I know that it's forever, if it really needs to be. But obviously it was always a critical illness one that I looked at, was because you've got different things in your family, and I mean there's cancer in everybody's family now, and there's different diseases and different illnesses and stuff like diseases, but illnesses. So you're always going, right, okay, look what happened to my gran, right, for example.
Everyone's got someone in their close circle of friends and family that's had cancer or stroke, or I certainly do, and there's so many stories about that kind of stuff, and I think 1 in 2 get cancer at some point in your life. It's quite scary when you start looking at that.
No, I know.
Clients call me Dr. Doom. It's quite a dire conversation to have with people talking about death and what happens if your children are unwell, or if you die, or if you have this and that. And so try to make it as light-hearted as possible, but it's not a fun.
It's not going to happen to you, but just in case.
It's not a fun subject, is it?
See if that happens, but I don't think it will happen to you, but just in case. Right? See if you go out there tomorrow and your leg gets cut off, right? Just in case. But and it's good to understand those different things, and that's what you're saying, is rather than try to kind of the DIY and the do-it-yourself way, where yes, you can go on the internet, yes, you can find things, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, speaking to somebody, and I think when you're doing the consultations, just know as if you charge for that. Just
exactly.
That advice part of it, isn't it?
No, we don't have any fees for protection reviews. We don't add anything to the premium either. So whatever the insurer is paying or charging, that's what we'll pass that on.
Right.
We get paid out of their pocket, so it's not out of your
Quite
pocket.
right.
So there's no cost. So why wouldn't you take advice when it's basically free to you? So
well, it's costing me all these cakes and a game of golf. But they no, and that's the thing. It's just a phone call, a Teams call, however that's done. Might take half an hour to an hour out of your time, just to try and get a wee bit of advice and a bit of guidance. Yeah. So why wouldn't you?
It's why wouldn't you? I can't really say because I didn't. I wish I did. But it's just one of those things. Like you just go into your own and think you're going to deal with it. But
and listen, we're saying that. I mean, I know all these things you do, and then we've had none this morning, and Joe obviously dug me up because it was something that I did without speaking to him, and I'm like, I actually forgot that you did that, and these are the things, because you're just, everybody's dead busy, everybody's life's dead busy, and try to take that wee step back and go, right, okay, I'm going to go and speak to you, Joel, or I'm going to go and speak to whoever to actually get a bit of proper, more independent advice on where we're going. I mean, we do it as a business. We're always sitting shouting about, come and speak to us because we'll give you independent, truthful advice.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't listen to
we don't work for a particular insurance company or mortgage lender. We basically place you with anyone that we think is the best fit for you. So it makes no difference to us. We just try to find you the best home. And I can't remember where I was going with that. Something you said, but
basically the independent part. So it's not that you're trying to sell an Aviva policy.
No,
right?
exactly.
That's not what you're doing. You're just going and sitting there and looking at people's individual circumstances, what they're looking to try and get out of it, the type of protection they're wanting, and what they need out of that policy. And then you guys then go and do the hard work of part of that, and then go and beat all these other people up and say, right, this is what they're wanting, who can do this at the best price and the best level of cover.
A lot of people also they put it like, that's where I was going with that. You said that, you know, it's one of those things you put on the to-do list and you put it off because you're busy with life, as everyone is right now, and it's on the to-do list and then something happens. But then by then it's maybe too late. You've been diagnosed with diabetes or something's come up, and then it's too late to get your cover. So I think I find a lot of people that when they do get around to doing it, they're like, oh, that's such a relief, thanks very much. And you know, it's that off your shoulder,
worry.
like
It's a worry away.
that thing keeping you up at night or worrying about what happens and all that. And just getting it done is sort of like going to the gym, isn't it? Like you just dread going, but afterwards you feel better for it.
Aye, sometimes. Sometimes afterwards you're going like, I wish I had that and shoot that income protection. That's what I'm like every time I come out the gym. Oh, fucking wish if I had that income protection, I wouldn't be going to work tomorrow. No, you're right in what you're saying, and I do think that I mean, I know lots of people that have had serious illnesses that have meant that they couldn't work and they didn't have anything in place, and you see that struggle. Like, obviously, give an example. So obviously my dad, he works with us, but when my dad had his stroke, I don't think he had anything like this in place, and it would just have made that next period of his life a lot easier.
Same for my dad actually as well. He had the same kind of thing. You just think having that kind of cover in place would have really helped. So
right, okay. So listen. How long been on, Andrew?
28 and a half.
We're going to try and get it because we've been trying to get it to 30 minutes for ages. So I reckon if you speak to anybody, they'll be able to give you an example of where they know somebody that they wish they had it in place.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many stories. Like we'd easily cover another 30 minutes.
I know.
Start telling stories about, like, even just in your family and in the firm. Everyone knows someone that has had something.
Yep.
There's 3 types of people that or scenarios where people come to me, either because I catch them when they're doing their mortgage and I say, what about your protection? Have you thought about this? Or they come to me because something's happened to them. Yeah. Which is the worst case scenario, because usually then it's too late.
Aye.
Or someone near them has had something happen and that's kind of scared them into giving me that call, get that off the to-do list. Yeah. The first and the third scenario, we're still okay, but when it's happened to you, then you know you're up the creek.
Aye, definitely. So obviously the people from our business usually watch this every week. So what I want to do is basically say to everybody that works for me, if you give Joel a call, we'll get them to. We'll basically give everybody your phone number and say to them, like, that's something that we want to give back as a business. Go and have a chat, see if there's anything that they can do, and it's potentially something that's worth you thinking about. Obviously, we're not going to go and say everybody you need to go and do it, but at least giving them a time to have a chat with you.
Yeah, it's never a hard sale with us. We just give you the honest advice, a little bit of education, kind of like what we've been talking about now, and open your eyes to it. If you want it, you want it. If you don't, then you're fine. But actually, it's good thing you mentioned that, because as a business owner, you know yourself, you have different considerations as well. We kind of talk about the family stuff, but when you run your own business, you then have your staff, which is, I suppose, your extended family.
Yeah.
So what happens if you're the key person in the business? If you're not around, how's the business going to go? Is everyone going to lose their jobs? So you can basically get some cover to help the business survive. So there's specific things for business owners as well. That's maybe different.
Yeah, because let's actually dive into that a wee bit, because it's probably worthwhile. So you've got like your key person policies. So that's maybe for your directors and some of the kind of key members of staff that, guess what, if something happened to them, you're not replacing that role overnight. Yeah. In most instances, I say, for example, you're an electrician, for example, which they're even really, really hard to get just now, but you're an electrician, right? And you've got a pool of other electricians. Yes, if somebody is off ill, you can hopefully be able to backfill their role, right? Which is a challenge at the moment with the trades, but you should hopefully be able to find that skill. But if you've got, let's say, a software developer, that's the only software developer you've got in your business, you really need to think about what happens if something happens to them.
Yeah. So the cost to the business of lost revenue, the cost to the business of retraining someone or finding someone, maybe having to source that in as a
consultancy
contract.
Thing,
yeah. So it's expensive. So when you have key persons in your business, it's probably not a bad idea to put something in place for that. Then obviously for the owners, like, you might want some relevant life cover. And not really want to dive in too much on the details. It's quite technical, but there's different kind of considerations. So that's more for your legacy, for your family. Like if you didn't come around, or if you didn't come home, what happens to the business, and are they going to be able to keep running it, or do they just want to get paid out of it?
Well, obviously I know I should have came and got this all for you. So by the way,
I won't hold it against you.
How terrible is that? I mean, known this guy for bloody a long time, and I get my key person's insurance for someone else. But anyway,
well, I get some good cakes and coffee out of you,
get
so
cakes
we're good.
So,
we're good.
But obviously we've got these kind of things in place, but you're hoping that these things never ever have to ever come out.
Yeah.
But from a business owner's point of view, so obviously from Kane and our point of view, what we'd say is, right, if one of us gets hit by a bus tomorrow, we're not at that point in time, you're not thinking about us. You're thinking about the ripple effect that us not being there is going to create, and making sure that can be as minimal as possible. And it's not that money fixes everything, right? But being able to have some financial security both for your family, your business, and a plan if any of that unforeseen thing ever did happen, and how the business would recover from it, and make sure, not even recover from you not being there, but make sure that it can still continue. It's a must.
It gives you that breathing space, or the people that you leave behind, give them the breathing space. And obviously it's all about the financial part, but the other stuff, unfortunately, we can't do much about that. But it certainly helps give you time and the ability to deal with that.
It's the same as what we talked about with the income protection part of it. It's like, so not most people, I've got to say not everybody, but most people that are currently working, right, if something happens to them, the last thing they want to do is go and sit in their arse forever. Yeah. They want to get another job. But what that protection does is it gives them time to do that, and without the real stress of whether they're going to be able to put food on their table. It's a similar scenario with the business. The devastation part's still there, but it gives them time to then be able to make the decisions and get the things moving and get the right people in place and all that kind of stuff, without the worry that nobody's wages are getting paid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you're quite successful in what you're doing and trying to replace that, if you're up and making a 6-figure salary, and how do you replace that? That's not going to happen overnight. So
No.
then you have the option, if you can work doing something else and go work in a supermarket, or do you need to take a few years to retrain? Maybe you need to go back to school, and then you got to work your way up again. You start at the bottom, and it can take a long time, even if you are able to replace your salary. It's maybe 5-10 years down the road. So
Well, here, I've got a scenario, right? So, something happens to me, right? And I can no longer do my job. So what I'm going to do is retrain as a professional golfer, right? Do you think I'd still get paid for that? I'd be training for the rest of my life.
yeah, I mean, this is different jobs, so you're still getting your income protection.
I'm cut. So how much are you making from that just now? Zilch. Because I'm crap, right? But I'm trying really hard and I'm training my ass off, but I'm still not making any money.
You need to start with filling your golf setup, so you have a full set of clubs that look a bit dire in your bag there when I looked
do
at
have a full set, it's Lucas, it doesn't. Right, okay, mate. So is there anything else that you want to actually, that we've not talked about, that you think's of value?
I think we pretty much covered the most important stuff. It's basically just, if I could leave you with anything, it's just don't leave it on the to-do list. Just get on with it. Get it done and get it off your shoulders.
The thing is as well, see, so people, everybody's, as you say, is on budgets and stuff like that. But let's say it's 50 quid, right? And it's not as if it's nothing. But see, when you're not used to having it, it then very quickly becomes nothing, as you say. £50 for most families is right. You'd have 2 less Chineses a month. Yeah. Right.
And it's one of those things as well. Like I do, like with pilots, it is quite expensive, and sometimes the quote is a little bit too salty. Aye. And then we kind of go, well, this is what we want, but it's not realistic. So let's just dial it back a bit and have something. Something is always better than nothing. Yeah. So there's always a budget element in there, and if you can't afford the full 9 years, then having something there. And then you can build on that, like, okay, you get a pay rise, whatever. Okay, let's add that last bit.
All right. No, good. So if you obviously, you might not always get the golden goose, but you'll get something that at least gives you some sort of protection. Yeah. Like the thing that was instrumental in making sure you could become where you are just now, that you had 2 or 3 years or whatever you had on it. Yeah. Because if you think about it, so let's just finish off on this scenario that you're a pilot, you're making good money, right? You've got nice house, you've got everything else that's going there, and then you can't get signed off to work, right? If you didn't have this, what would you have had to do?
It would have basically been panic stations. Just get any job. Yeah. Let's get a job. Let's go and stack shelves. Whatever you can. Drive taxis, which actually I did for a little bit, but that was a different story. But just get something. But it takes a long time to build your new business, and you go without an income. I would have never been able to do what I do now because I needed that financial sort of security to start building something new. And if I didn't have that, like, I think pretty quickly we would have been in trouble financially. Even though when you make good money, you end up with big expenses. So
that's what happens.
You're not saving more. You're just spending more. So it would have been trouble straight away or pretty quickly, and I would have just had to go and find any job. And then once you're in there, it's hard to kind of move on. You kind of get stuck in, okay, now you live in paycheck to paycheck, and how are you going to go back to getting a new qualification and starting from scratch and doing something else?
The simple fact is it's very, very tough. What you're then having to do is you're having to work to put food on the table, which you're not doing part-time. You're having to do a full-time job to be able to try and even get close to the lifestyle that you were used to. And then you're then having to worry about trying to study at night and all that kind of stuff, and if you want to try and do something different, and that's obviously, I seen you during that time, right, and I could see that it's not that obviously everything was fine, but you had the time and the confidence and the kind of capacity to do what you're doing now. But obviously, when I started the business, so see if I had something like that in place, that I didn't have to worry about doing Chinese deliveries 5
I know
nights a
how
week and
hard
that
you
kind
were
of
working, and you're setting up a business. It takes a long time before you start
Making
raking it
money.
in.
Aye, I still can't. I'm still waiting on the day coming.
So yeah, I know how hard you were working, and that's you know, if you have that drive and the ability to do it, but most people are off for a reason, so they're not going to be able to, like, if you're on income protection, you're on it for a reason,
Yes.
and you're probably not at your full capacity. So try to hold down a job and study at the same time and build something new is
100%, and that's what I mean by that. So it's the likes of these. It's somebody that ends up having an illness or something that happens to them. They'd have to do what I did, which is you're working through the day, studying at night, or doing something. That's not sustainable for anybody, right? Especially somebody that's had an accident or something like that. You can't do that. And as you say, what you're then doing is you're then having to just make sure is all your focus is on just keeping the lights on. Yeah. The more I speak to you, the more I'm going, do you know what? Everybody should have it. Right. So
yeah, that's the way it sounds salesy, but it's not about that. Like I'm just quite happy to try to get the word out and educate people. But I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to end up in that situation without having some sort of plan.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I'd say when you're working as an adult, you have your mortgage and everything. Is sort of the cost of doing business. You really need to have cover in place.
Okay, doc. Right. Well, good. Right. Thank you very much, Joe. Right, Andrew. You need to get some before he goes. Right. Make sure you're all right. Look after Amelia. See, sitting there going, right, try to calculate how much it would cost them. But I think it's been very insightful for me, and similar to a lot of people that have on the show. I know enough about these things to know what I know, but it's not until you then dive deeper into some of the conversations that you're going, do you know what, I didn't know that. So hopefully anybody that's still watching the show just now or watches it back actually can get some value from that and maybe think a wee bit different and go, right, okay, like for example, I've got critical illness cover, but where does that leave me? Right, I pay off my mortgage, right, okay, but what about for the next 20 years? What am I going to do?
It's actually quite funny, the amount of people that I meet and say, what cover do you have in place? Oh, I don't really know. I have something, but I'm not quite sure what it is.
Aye.
And we start looking at, maybe they have some critical illness cover or they have some life insurance. I said, what do you have that for? I said, I don't really know. Someone told me to get it.
Aye.
Okay, well, I think you should know what you have and why you have it and what the purpose of having it is.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for it.
Aye. And also, and also the thing as well, though, is it's your partner needs to know and all these, because it's the same as well. Like, see if something happens to me tomorrow, Heather's never going to know where to find everything, right? So we had that conversation. We need to sit and go, right, okay, by the way, see if something happens to me, this is what you do, right? Something happens to you, I do that. And because you've seen it yourself, something happens to one of the people, and the other party doesn't know anything about where things are, policies are in place, blah, 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 blah.
I seem like no one has a will. Like
I've got
90% people that speak to don't have a will. And I start going on about it, and I'm like, by the way, I don't sell wills. I probably should. I should do a will writing service and make a killing. But it's just a part of the kind of whole financial planning in your family. Like, have your will, have your protection, obviously have your mortgage and your bills and your budget and all that kind of stuff. It's just
Andrew, you like this, Andrew. So when we're talking about wills, I says, I've got a will. I says, you'll know when I die because all my dogs will be running about with Gucci on, right? It's all getting left to the dogs. Kids are getting nothing. I mean, dogs will be strutting up the street with their Gucci and their Louis Vuitton on, and Sonny boy, he'll be walking about with his dreadlocks in. We've got all this money. Dad's deed. We don't even need him to tell us what to do anymore. We just cut about and do what we want. Right, Okay, we'll leave it there, Joe, because we've got some golf to play.
Oh yeah,
Right,
looking
okay.
forward to that.
Right, so let's go. Thank you very much, anybody that's still watching. Joe, you can obviously, Joe's tagged in this video, so if anybody's looking for a bit of free independent advice on protection for them, their business and their families, then get in touch.
Yeah, you find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the best way to.
Good. I was to
Get in
say
touch.
you'll be tagged in the show anyway, so on LinkedIn. So all the days just click on the Joel Wedegren profile.
Thanks for having me,
and
Jamie.
get
It's
you
been
on. No problem at all. Right, thanks everybody. Thanks Joel. Thanks Andrew. Thanks.